coach is leaving. I talked about some of this the other day. Nick Saban probably led to him retiring early. But guys like B.O.B., who used to be a head coach at Penn State and been in the NFL with the New England Patriots, done his thing, so now he's back in as a head coach. So we can talk about that as well. That being said, there's a table is set for you. Let's go down to Tuscaloosa. Let's talk to the boys, Wyatt and Christian Billy. Guys, happy Friday. Hope you're doing well.
Doing well. And just real quick, so remember, was it earlier this week or last week when I made the comment? I was like, did they award like the Rookie of the Year and all that stuff? You made it seem like, oh, bro, mute your mic. I can hear you eating.
Dang, no, my mic. I want to get a bite.
No. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I told you, I was like, I didn't think they came out with the official awards yet, and that's what I meant. I think it was just a different thing. But anyway, they did come out last night.
It was a different award though. But
no, it still was rookie. No, but I'm saying it was honored by something else. That's what I was telling you when you're like, "What? You go on? You don't pay attention to stuff." That's what I was telling you. This is the official awards, and so they did come out last night, and none other than
heck, I still was right.
Okay, but you got on me making it seem like I was wrong. I actually was right. The official award hadn't come out yet. That's what I was saying. But anyway, that's fine. But Will Anderson, you're right. He did win it. And then also his offensive teammate, C.J. Stroud, won the Offensive Rookie of the Year. So really nice draft class by the Houston Texans. Shout out to D'Amico Ryan, former Alabama linebacker, doing a really good job getting those two guys and then putting them in position to be successful their rookie year. So definitely nice to see Will Anderson get that award. I already know what's coming. You probably feel that it was supposed to be Brian Branch awarded that Defensive Rookie of the Year. I don't think that's a harsh argument. I think that's fair. I kind of almost feel the same. I almost feel like Brian probably, I wouldn't say, I mean, it's just, I guess it's subjective right now, but, Branch had 50 solo tackles, 1 forced fumble, 3 interceptions. I mean, helped lead this Lions defense. 13 pass deflections. He helped lead that Lions defense in that team to a postseason run that they haven't seen in quite some time. I mean, they were just a few plays away from heading to the Super Bowl. So, I think I could have saw Brian Branch winning that award, but they gave it to Will Anderson. Regardless, it's a win-win for us Alabama fans, right? We still got one of our guys winning the award, and Will Anderson definitely did some really good things. He ended up finishing with 7 sacks, I think, his rookie year, which is a great number, and was very effective in helping his team have a turnaround as well. But I probably would say if I had a vote, I probably would have gave Brian Branch my vote. That's just me, though. Now, I'm sure you're probably going to say the same thing because it sounds like you're on that track.
100%. I told you I'll do you one better since you want to do the I told you so's today. Well, I told you before the season started that I picked Brian Branch and I picked Jahmyr Gibbs, right? We threw it out there who would be the player of the year. But those are my 2 votes. And I'm still saying both of them was great choices. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs really had not it been for, a tremendous year out of Houston. I mean, listen, there's no denying, what this man did. So, but Jahmyr Gibbs was great. But Brian Branch was the glue. He was the glue to that defense. I mean, they played a lot of nickel because of him, because he was such a great run stopper. He can get in there and get run fits. He can cover the tight ends. He can get your best tight end or your slot receiver. He can cover him down, right? He was a smart player, and that's kudos to Nick Saban for teaching him how to play football. But I thought he got hosed. And this goes to show you, I mean, he was a 2nd round pick. It wasn't like he was a very low draft pick. But I think in this instance, when you're the number 3 pick, and when you're pick number 70 or whatever he was, 65, whatever, that sometimes people go, okay, let's do it, give it to this guy. Because had they watched games, I mean, I watched Houston games where Will Anderson kind of disappeared some, right? I mean, he had a good year. He had a really good year as a rookie. But I watched games that Houston, he disappeared. But when I watched a lot of Detroit Lions football, Brian Branch was, and they talked about Brian Branch all the time. The commentators, the guys that was analyzing the game, they talked about him all the time and his importance to the defense of the Detroit Lions. So that's one of the things I look at. I mean, again, I normally don't get into these awards, but again, as you said, Alabama won either way. You know, both these guys played on that defense, which makes you go, wow, those were two great defensive football players on that team a year ago. And God, makes you go, why do they have so many daggone mess-ups? But listen, I mean, Jordan Battle had a good year with Cincinnati.
Yep.
I mean, daggone, let's not talk about the other linebacker, too, from Alabama, drawing a blank that played with you, Christian Harris, I believe. He had a phenomenal year with Houston. I mean, he's not a rookie, but I'm just saying a lot of great football players coming from the program out of Alabama. You got to give your nod to what they've done over the years, producing great talent. And again, kudos to Will Anderson Jr. not taking away from his accomplishment. I'm very happy for him. I'm just saying, in the love of, you know, just controversy, you got to put Brian Branch right there. I mean, you read his numbers.
Yeah.
You read his numbers, bro. I mean, it's what's not to love? So, but anyway.
But I mean, if we're being honest, I mean, it's kind of expected, right? I mean, not saying there's politics involved, but when you got two guys that had great years, typically they're going to kind of give the nod to, you know, the higher draft, kind of like you were saying, right? And I think they both are very deserving of it. But if I had to pick one personally, I probably would have gone with Branch. But nonetheless, like you said, it's a win-win for Alabama fans, regardless. And then, like you mentioned, you thought Lamar Jackson would get his second MVP. He did that. He was awarded his second NFL MVP, which is good for him. I wish he could have been playing Sunday in the Super Bowl. I think that would have been awesome for him and, you know, his career. But, you know, we'll see if he's able to, you know, do it again next year. But yeah, no, I mean, those awards. I mean, I don't. They're great, but it's kind of like even like in college. Like sometimes you see that sometimes there's some politics involved. But I don't really think that was the case here. I think, you know, again, two really good football players that helped their teams really, you know, play to a higher level, right? And that's what we saw out of both Will Anderson and Brian Branch. But no, it does make you look back and say, dang, well, we had a lot of really good talent again. You know, Jordan Battle, you mentioned, really good year. But yeah, that's just the Alabama standard. So they continue to do their thing in the NFL. So no surprises there.
Well, that being said, when we've been talking about this, I'd love to get more about this, you know, Alabama new defense with Coach Womack coming in the 4-2-5, and we talk about all this production that we've seen from guys that play defense at Alabama. You know, the question I have is, will this type of production continue on? I mean, because right now, we talked to Stephen M. Smith about this yesterday, you know, based on what they got coming back, you know, there's nobody on this defense, in my opinion, right now that I'm jumping up and down about.
No, you don't have a single name you can think of.
I mean, if there's one guy, there's two guys I would say, if I was sitting back and analyzing this defense and saying, who is the guy to lead Alabama's defense into 2024, it's going to be Malachi Moore, is it going to be Deontay Lawson? One of the two. Just because of the experience. Now, am I just over the top, just you know, smiling from ear to ear and just excited about what they did last year? No. I think Deontay Lawson had a bad year. When I look at his film,
no. You didn't watch the whole tape. There's no way you watched the whole tape and say that.
For his standard,
no way. How many? You watched every game? There's no way.
I watch every game.
There's no way.
I watched every game of Alabama. I did not. But my point is, to what's expected of Deontay Lawson, I felt like he needed to play better. I thought he was out of position a lot on pass coverage and in run fits. Of course, he was banged up too. He had some injuries, but my expectation of Deontay Lawson is more than what we saw from him last year. Now, will he be better in this 4-2-5? Will he be able to fly around, be that heat-seeking missile where he just freaking run and knock people out? I don't know. But that's kind of what I expect from him. And I can just tell you, I didn't see that. Malachi Moore is that you know, he's that Swiss Army knife. He's that guy that can do a little bit of everything. But did he have the type of year that I saw a couple of years ago? That the playmaking, the big plays? No. I mean, if we've been honest. Do they have the capabilities? Do they have the talent to be what I'm talking about? Yes. But right now, I'm saying there's nobody on this 2024 roster at this point in time that I'm going to be just enthralled with and just going to be like, listen, this guy can straight up do it. And I love for you to tell me, and I love for the people, 205-342-9904 to tell me, because I don't see it right now. Now, it's always going to be somebody. You alluded to this the other day, and you're right. Might be a freshman, might be a transfer portal guy. Maybe it's Overton, the transfer from Texas A&M. Maybe he steps up and the defensive line, the weakness there that we've been talking about, maybe he's that guy. But I'd love to hear from you. Is there somebody on this defense that you feel like, hey, I feel confident that's going to be that dude? Going to be that guy. All right, we got to hit a break, 12:17, your time. Wow, let's go to break here. When we come back, I'd love to hear from you. The phone lines are open. 205-342-9904. Don't forget, free download Tide 100.9. Hello, YouTube. If you're there, Chris, you got you going. Maybe don't have you up yet, but hello to you if you're there. Love to hear your thoughts and comments on that because, again, I'm not overly concerned with the offense. I think the offense is going to be just fine, but the defense is where I have a problem. And Greg Michael on Kublik asked his question on X. I just saw it when I came in this afternoon. I'm like, whoa, that's a good question. I'm going to steal it, and I'm going to pose it too. And I'm just going to change the verbiage. Do you consider this 2024 team a tier one team, a top echelon team now of college football? Is that Bama standard there? Love to get your thoughts. Quick time out, quick break. We'll be back. Sponsored by our good friends by the Good Feet Store. We'll be back in a moment.
Progressive presents Flo and JB announcing a monster truck rally.
Joey, Sam, Kenji, what's going on? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say he was, obviously I wouldn't say he was elite last year, but I would not call the season bad last year. He did some good things. Had some hiccups here and there. I just say he needs to be more consistent. But that's just, again, I actually kind of watched the games closely and was able to kind of, break things down. I'm not just kind of watching it from a TV copy, so might be a little bit different than my dad's opinion, but I agree. I mean, I wouldn't, label him as some Reuben Foster linebacker right now at all.
Free for all of you here. Love to hear from you. I see the YouTube extras going. Is Alabama still considered a tier one team, upper esh team? Is it a team that you're going to see when all these preseason rankings come out, which I don't really get caught up in? But will the pundits, will the national folks, say, hey, Alabama is still there with Kalen DeBoer, with all the changes, with all the transfers, guys leaving and transferring? Will this team, will they be a team that's still held to that exact Bama standard? That's my question for today as far as football is concerned. Excuse me, will people still be able to look at this team and go, oh yeah, they're top four, top six football team? What say you, Christian Miller?
You're asking me, you're asking my answer to that question?
Yeah, I want for is Alabama still considered a tier one football? I saw Greg Kublik and McElroy tweet that out, and I'm like, well, that's a very interesting question.
I mean, why wouldn't they be? I mean, like, I understand.
They wouldn't be because it's what I said. They lost a ton of players in the transfer portal. They
So did
lost
Georgia.
guys in the draft. They lost starters. They lost 4 guys on defense. They lost all. Matter of fact, I heard something about the production. When you look at the total production coming back, Alabama is one of the worst in the country. When you look at the defense side of the ball, the production that's coming back, they're near the daggone worst in the country. That's what I'm saying. I'm concerned about the defense. I'm concerned that, hey, I don't know, you got a defensive coordinator that's coming in here from South Alabama. Yeah, I know he was at Indiana with Kalen DeBoer, but we really don't know. Nobody sitting here was touting him as some up-and-coming dude. You never heard the dude's name, right? I mean,
Right.
People jumped on this bandwagon because, oh, yeah, Kalen DeBoer, he's with him at Indiana, and blah, blah, blah. And they're going to tell you, you know, and put my mic down, I'm sorry. They're going to tell you how great he is, but to be honest, they ain't proven anything yet defensively. So
Well, I don't even think
why
it's just
wouldn't
that.
they be a tier 1? There you go. I just gave it to you. That's
I mean,
a big reason.
Yeah, well, that's just one coach. I think it's more so, in my opinion, like, you know, he look, it's not just him, you know, coming from where he came from. My thing is just more so they also had to hire guys. Basically, this defensive staff is assembled as from like basically all over, right? And so I'm just curious to see how everybody fits in within each other, right? There's a lot more continuity on the offensive side of the coaching staff than the defensive side, right? So it's going to be, especially when you talk about guys that are, you got a couple of different head coaches, right? That leads me to kind of question, like, how will they work together, right? Could there be some issues in terms of, you know, input, right? I know you got a defensive coordinator, but then you also have 2 co-defensive coordinators. How is that going to mesh? I mean, these are guys that haven't really worked together. That's kind of where my thoughts and concerns come from, more so of kind of like the level that they came from. But with that being said, I still don't think that's enough for me to look. And I get it. Now's the time of year where everybody starts throwing out these questions and stuff. It's good topics to talk about. I think it's just too soon to I mean, I think that's crazy to demote Alabama from a tier 1 team off the rip. I know Coach Saban's gone. I know we lost a lot of talent, but the thing is, we lose talent every year, right? I mean, if we were going off of that, we could say every single year Alabama might not be a tier 1 team because they lost X amount of guys, right? I mean, we always have the most guys drafted, right? I mean, I know we did lose some key pieces. I'm not ready to say that yet, right? I mean, because again, you get, you know, a solid coaching staff, head coach, Coach DeBoer. I mean, again, he's come from Washington. He just had his team in the national championship. It's not like we just fell off the map, right? In my opinion, I understand there's some, you know, questions that need answers. Just like last season, there was a lot of questions that needed answers. I remember us talking about several of those questions. A lot of fans were in doubt. I remember during training camp when we were doing our show early on in the season, people were calling up to the USF game, we're not going to be able to win anything. We had multiple people saying we couldn't win an SEC championship. This team is on pace to lose 3 or 4 games. We were the ones saying, calm down, pump the brakes, you know, let it play out, let them kind of mesh, let them gel, let them figure themselves out. And that's what they did. I mean, and they were a couple plays away. They were overtime away from playing in the national championship. And I truly believe if they beat Michigan, they were going to win it all. They would have beat Washington. So with that being said, I think it's no different here. I think you got to remember, I mean, you still got some core pieces. I know you're not, you know, necessarily jumping off the page and when it looks like, when you look at some of these defensive guys, you're saying, but to me, they might not necessarily have that elite status to them, but there's still some really good football players. Like, I mean, I'm confident in a guy like Deontay Lawson. I know you might not have saw some of the things you've seen out of a guy like, you know, Reuben or, you know, Rolando McClain at that position. However, he's a very solid piece at the inside linebacker spot, and he had some really good games. Now, he also did have some games where he didn't play his best ball, but I also think he was a little banged up. He didn't always look 100% healthy to me. I know he was dealing with a knee injury, I think, going into the season. I think he missed some time, whether it was last spring or whatever, dealing with some stuff. But with that being said, I think his biggest thing is just playing a little more consistent with a little more consistency, you know, and just making sure. You know, I think when I watched him, the areas of weakness for him sometimes in coverage, I feel like he just kind of was lagging behind. I thought that was one thing he can improve on. Kind of just being a little bit more of a sure tackler when he's like. There's some games where he was shooting stuff and making big time plays, and that was That was the good stuff, right? And there are sometimes it just looked like he was kind of lagging, even in the run game sometimes. Again, so maybe it was a health thing. I'm not sure. I mean, I know Jahad Campbell also was dealing with some injuries. He missed a game due to his knee. So I feel good about those guys. Malachi Moore, I mean, the same thing. He had some really good football plays, some really good games last year. I just still think, even though we got a lot of youth, we lost a lot of guys, we got new coaches, I think that's an overreaction to say they're not labeled as a tier 1 program. I mean, at least give me an idea on if they're not tier 1, then, and I'm not saying you said that, but what would be the next tier? Name some teams that you feel they would be like, I guess, in that group with, if they're not tier 1. Like, what would that tier 2 group be? Like some other teams.
Well,
like would you say like Ole Miss?
Right.
You say like Ole Miss maybe?
Tier 1 I was going to be
Georgia, Ohio State.
Going to be Georgia. It's probably going to be Texas. Going to be in that conversation, right? Oregon. I'm going to call them tier 1 teams. I would put Alabama maybe in a tier 2 or 3 for me, just based on because, and I'm going to put them back.
You said 2 or 3?
Yeah, I'm going to put them back with Ole Miss.
Dude,
I'm going to put them back with Michigan, Penn State.
Wait, you said Michigan's tier 2?
Yes. You see all of them, and they lost pretty much the step now. I just read that they are getting Martin Wendell or whatever his deal from the Giants.
He's going to Michigan?
Yeah.
Oh dang, that's a big time hire.
Yeah. So,
see, like to me, like if we're like huge. that would, to me, I would call that an elite hire.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But we call Womack an elite hire. Why? And let's just be honest, we want him to be elite. We want the staff to be elite. But we don't know. I mean, I can't say this man is elite when he ain't really done anything. And I don't want to last when he's at Indiana. I mean, he's at South Alabama. Then you hire a guy that was another head coach at Buffalo, right? And you're looking at an opportunity, but did not do well at Buffalo, which he maybe just wasn't a head coach. But we don't know enough about these guys. That's why I'm just saying we don't know enough. And when you look at all that they lost, you lost your 2 shutdown corners that could travel. When I say travel, I mean corners that can take your best receiver and go wherever he goes. He motions, he goes with him. He shifts, he goes with him. They had that guy in Kool-Aid McKinstry. They had that guy in Terrion Arnold, right? They don't have that guy no more. Those guys are gone. First, maybe both first or first and second. Both of them will be gone by the top 2 rounds, period, right? You don't have Dallas Turner knocking out the quarterback at LSU, the Heisman Trophy winner, and we win that game. That guy's gone. We don't have Chris Braswell, a solid run stopper, great with his run fits, discipline, comes up with big plays, Texas A&M, a scoop and score, things like that. We don't have them dudes. And then we got the interior lineman guys that we know the name. They played a lot. Tim Smith, all these guys, Jaheim Otis, good players. They are just good players. They are not the typical Alabama standard great players. These are the things that I'm talking about when I mentioned Jahad Campbell and Deontay Lawson. They are good players, but we're not classifying even them as great players. So my point is, you got to fill in a defense, and we know in the SEC, you better be able to play defense, right? So at this point in time, at this juncture of the season, you got to say they're not a tier 1 team. And even with the offense, and I know we're riding the Kalen DeBoer boat, right? We on the train, so to speak. We've seen what he's done with Michael Penix Jr. We've seen what he's done offensively the last couple of years in the Pac-12. I'm on record as saying I'm a wait-and-see guy. I ain't sold just yet because I know it's going to be harder, right? Every week is going to be challenges. So there's too many question marks for anybody to say that Alabama, as much as we love them, is a tier 1 football team right now.
I guess
Can Kalen DeBoer get them there? Maybe.
I mean, I as you further explain that, I get where you're coming from. That makes sense. I guess I don't know the metric of these tiers, but I can see where you're coming. If you're only labeling just 2 or 3 teams as tier 1, that's fair to say they could be a tier 2 team. But
you're gonna put. I'm just saying, it's based off of last year. You got Michigan. You got, I'm not putting Washington there. They got too much that turnover. They're out.
Mm-hmm.
Texas, I like Steve Sarkisian, what he's doing. Kirby Smart is going to be. They got the quarterback. He just bought him a nice new Lambo. He's ready to go. Florida State had a lot of turnover. Guys left, but they hit the portal extremely hard.
Wait, where do you list Florida State? Because you weren't very complimentary of them this past season. So what tier would they be?
Team.
No, they are a good team, but I'm asking you.
In tier 2.
So you say that's fair. Okay, that makes sense. So
I'm gonna tell you a team that I'm gonna throw in tier 1 that you might not like.
Oh God,
I'm gonna put Missouri right there.
Okay, see, now you lost me. It's like that caller the other day. He was saying some decent stuff, and then he said Kirby and Georgia were trash.
They won 11 games. Missouri is a really good football team, and I'm telling you right now,
that's not tier 1.
Plays them.
Dude, come on,
listen,
man.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna tell you my top 5 going in right now. Okay, I'm gonna take Georgia number 1. I'm going to take Texas at number 2. I'm going to put Oregon at number 3. Okay, I'm going to put Ohio State at number 4. I'm going to put Ole Miss at number 5. If I had to pick a top 5 right now, those would be my top 5 teams.
Dang! Why you can cue the music, because this is getting interesting. We got to hit the break, and I'm curious to what people's thoughts are. If you had to do a way too early top 5, because I think the tier thing is too confusing. We'll just do
the top. But I'm just saying, though I normally I would say 4 based on the old metric with the college football playoffs. But I'm just saying, if I had to pick the top 4 right now, that'd be my tier 1. Those would be my teams. Alabama is not in it. Now, the Alabama will be grouped in probably that 2nd or 3rd with the Florida State, maybe with, I don't know. Who else is there?
That's what.
Missouri. So, we'll see. They're not a tier 1. That's all I'm telling you. You know that. They're not tier 1.
Well, based off of kind of what we're going off of, I could
not be picked to win the SEC.
Oh, no, I think people are going to probably go with Georgia.
I think they're going to go Georgia, Texas.
Oh, I keep forgetting that Texas is in the SEC now.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah, no, there's definitely going to be some picks for Texas. You got Quinn Ewers returning. There's going to be picks.
That's what I'm saying. We got to hit a break. Quick timeout. Love to hear from you. I don't know if we're White. They normally text me if there's calls and things like that.
We got 2 calls lined up. You want to hit the phone lines when we come back?
Text them to me so I know, and I'll take some calls for sure.
All right,
we had a quick timeout. We will be right back here on a Friday. It's a Cheerio Friday, y'all. Heart healthy, whole grain. Holla at your boy. We'll be back in a moment.
I mean, this is all hypotheticals, Joey. I'll be honest with you. I mean, to be fair, though, I mean, there's a lot more. How would you say this? I guess some more Texas. I mean, the quarterback's coming back. They got a lot of good talent. Georgia, obviously. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't really have many teams I would even say are really tier 1. It really is kind of. But to be fair, though, I'm not going to lie. If I had to be honest with you, I'd have Alabama as they sit right now. I would have them probably. Let's see, Georgia, Texas, Ohio State. Did Jordan Travis? He's going to the draft, right? Quarterback. Yeah, he's gone. Right now I'd probably have Alabama 6. I'd bump Oregon up. I think this is how the rankings ended last season. So I would probably have Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, Oregon, those four, maybe Michigan 5. I'd probably have Alabama 6 or 7, if we're being honest.
God's plan. Why got me up in here? God's plan. Yes, sir. I don't know what the plan's going to be for tier 1, 2, 3, wherever you want to. We just, listen. For just the sake of discussion, guys. It's for the sake of discussion. Nothing is etched in stone here. It's God's plan, but we don't have the tablet with the 10 Commandments. It's just for discussion. 205-342-9904. Chris, you can see the phone calls there on the screen.
Yeah, I'm gonna get those. I would say real quick, just to throw mine. If I had to give, I'm not gonna do the tiers thing, or specifically, but I would say, yeah, I'd put Georgia, Texas, Ohio State. Who am I missing? I just had it. Probably Oregon. Yeah. Depending on how, I probably still would have Michigan in that realm. I'd end up having Alabama 6 or 7. So I guess if we're being transparent, that would be tier 2. So that's a fair point. So originally I was kind of confused. I guess in my head when I heard tiers, I was thinking tier 1 would basically almost be like the top 7 teams. But if we're going off of what I just, the way I just laid it out and that type of metric, technically, yeah. If we're being honest and we're not chapsticking, right now, currently where we stand, right now, hypothetically speaking, right, I'd probably say tier 2. Now, I'm not saying that means that's where they're going to end up at, or that's how the season's going to go. If you're true to it, and you look at a team like Texas, Quinn Ewers coming back, right? The talent that they have, you just got to have them up there. Same thing with Georgia. I know they lost a lot of guys, but again, you're talking about two teams that have a little bit more. How do you put this? Reliability when you're talking about the guys that are returning, right? It's easier to go ahead and kind of feel more confident in that because there's less questions that are needing answers. And then Ohio State, they've hit the portal hard. They've got Ole Miss's running back, right? Judkins, Caleb Downs. They've added some really good football players to an already talented team. I feel like you got to put them up there. So yeah. Now, the thing I disagree with you on is I know Missouri is a good football team last year, and they are a good program. It's going to be a tough matchup, but I'm not. There's no way in hell I'm putting them over Alabama. Absolutely not. Now I think Ole Miss is going to be tough, but we don't play Ole Miss this season. With the new schedule, we don't have them on there. Now we could face them in the SEC championship game with the new format, but.
Are you hating on Missouri? I don't understand.
I'm not hating on Missouri. I said they're a heck of a football team, but I'm not ready to put them there. No, because I remember I watched them the same LSU team that we beat. I remember watching that football game. It ended up being a closer game, and I don't even remember the outcome. But I just remember I was like, it's not really. Again, good football team, but I think to me it's too soon. And Missouri ended up losing that game to LSU. But anyway, so that's what I would have. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Again, number is 205-342-9904. We are presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport experts. If you're in any type of pain, foot pain, knee pain, back pain, hell, probably even some neck pain, head on to the Good Feet Store. You'd be surprised what these. Me too, trust me. You'd be surprised what these premium arch supports can do. They eliminate and alleviate all types of pain. Go give them a try. I'm telling you, they are life changers. They are game changers. Not just for people like us, former athletes who've been beat up and bruised up and all type of pain, but for anybody and everybody. So go check them out. That's in Midtown Village in Tuscaloosa. Or you can always go to the Good Feet Store. It's website, goodfeet.com, schedule an appointment, or find the nearest location to you. Again, that's Good Feet, improving the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time. And now we will go to the phone lines, one person at a time. Let's start with Tommy. Tommy from Romulus. Welcome in, sir.
Hey, guys. How are y'all today?
Doing well, Tommy. How about you?
Tommy, what's up, bud?
Doing well. softball got a win today. Got one last night. Young girl pitched
A no-hitter, right? Yesterday?
46 in the history of Alabama softball last night.
Wow.
Man, I think we might be in good hands. I know there's a lot of concerns with Montana Fouts, leaving the program, but man, that's shoot. To start your career here at Alabama, because she transferred from
Central Arkansas.
That's right. First game here in Crimson Tide uniform, pitching no-hitter. That's pretty damn awesome.
It is. I mean, and somebody asked me today, said, well, should we put her in the Montana? I went, no. Don't put pressure on these people, these young ladies.
Slow it down. Slow it down.
Yeah, slow it down, people.
We're a quick anointing society, right? Everybody wants to look at the comparison of one game. I mean, come on, people. It's one game.
Yeah, I mean, I watched a pitch last year for Central Arkansas. They didn't have they played in the regional here in the first. They just didn't have the bat. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, why didn't this young lady sign with SEC school out of high school? She was that.
Tommy,
good.
what was the team they played? We had a guy on YouTube asking, who did they play? Alabama.
Last night they played Villanova. Today they beat Longview 13-0.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Tommy. I don't think I've ever heard of Longwood or Longwood.
Longwood. I always say the wrong thing.
No, you're fine.
Are they in Texas?
I think they're in Virginia.
Huh. Never heard of them, but I've heard of Villanova, and that's who we pitched no-hitter against. But I mean, I do get people being excited because I mean, replacing somebody like Montana Fouts, man. I mean, that's no easy feat, and it's probably impossible to really do that. But to have the newly transferred pitcher come in and pitch a no-hitter, I mean, you got to be excited about that. Now, I do think it's too quick to start. One game is way too soon to put somebody in that category because Montana did it at a high level for years consistently. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I mean, but the biggest thing that I wanted in this kind of at least gives me something good to feel about. Last season, our bats were a huge issue, at least in postseason play, right? We just couldn't really get anything going on the bats, and we scored 13 runs today. I know it was against Longwood, but hey, at least the bats are heating up early.
Well, they're in Farmville. Longwood is in Farmville, Virginia. Farmville, Virginia.
I knew it was in Virginia because we hadn't played them before here. And last year, they beat Florida State the very first game of the season.
Oh, wow.
They're no slouch. I mean, really. I mean,
dang, I can't even hate on them. I was looking for a reason to hate on them. So I can't even hate on them. They beat FSU, and FSU's known for softball.
Well, FSU lost last night to Charlotte.
Oh, wow.
6-5. Yeah,
it's first game.
Yeah. You got to get the thing. And I'm hard on this other girl. I just went blank on her name. She's a freshman from Arizona. Everybody was talking about her. I mean, she was like the number 1 and number 2 pitcher in America. So everybody, don't put pressure on these young ladies yet. Let them get acclimated and situated in their rotation and their ability, what they can do. But this girl last night, she brought the heat. She was pitching between like 67 and 71 miles per hour.
Now, I thought I could, I was a good baseball player, Tommy. And I got 2 ladies that are married to 2 family friends of mine, Bowares, that they all went to Florida State. They played at Florida State, all Americans at Florida State. And I thought I could hit their stuff, man. Man, that was crazy trying to hit a softball that's moving that close. You know what I mean? When you're that close. So
yeah. No.
I had to get the girl their props. I mean, because I was a big time hitter, and they struck me out a couple times.
No, I wouldn't step the battle watch today with them. No.
So, Tommy, is Alabama a Tier 1 team? Do you look at this Alabama 2024 football team and say they're a top 4 or 5 team? What they have coming back with the new coaching staff, Kalen DeBoer, and all of that good stuff. Do you see them being a top-tier football team? That old Bama standard mystique, so to speak, is still there?
Not this year, no. They can get there because you remember after our second and third game of last year, we didn't figure we were going to stay in the top 20. Lost to take and play off against Central Florida. No, give it time. I mean, I'm from the old school. Y'all laughed at me when I said that one time. But I'm just let's get to AJ. Let's take it a step at a time. Before we can get 10 wins, before we get the playoffs, we got to win the first game. I mean, it's a long season. People gonna mature. We're gonna have a growing pain. But do I think we're tier 3? No. I think we kind of around maybe 9 or 10. We on the edge of being in or out of the playoffs. That's how I really look at it. I know I just made 90% of the Alabama.
No. That's what I said.
No, Tommy, look here. You got a safe space here, man. Again, there's nothing wrong with you just being transparent. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Gets mad. All right, real quick. Here's your schedule. August 31st, Western Kentucky Dub. September 7th, at both these at home. Southern Florida Dub. They're 2-0 at Wisconsin.
Well,
so next two at Wisconsin, Georgia at home. Do they split those? Do they go 2-0, or do they go 0-2 the next two?
I think they split.
Okay, at Vanderbilt Dub. South Carolina Dub.
I'm gonna say win-win.
At Tennessee.
That's hard to tell. See what Tennessee got coming back. Tennessee has a few players on defense hit the portal. I know they got the $9 to $13 million man. They say. I mean, he got to show me more than one game.
At Oklahoma, at LSU, they're gonna beat Mercer. Missouri at home.
Yeah, I mean, all right. I'm like Tristan. You need to give Missouri respect, but don't make them as a world beater, because they have picked up like that little number 7. I can't think of his name. The little running back came from Division 2.
Division 3. He was like a
Division 3
type dude.
You know what?
He's gone though, right? He's headed to the draft.
Yeah, he's finished.
I mean, yeah. Oh, he was my hero. I liked him. He was one of my favorite players.
He was a great player, and then they got some 5 stars too. Now, don't forget, Missouri got some 5 stars, and they got a lot of NIL money. Remember, the guy just donated $62 million, $12 million of that going towards the NIL. So with this schedule, I'm looking at it. I'm giving them 9-3. I got the win total 9.5. Right, that's what I was saying.
Well, that's what I was, but I told somebody else. I said, "Well, they would push me." I said, "I'll go 10-2."
I got them 9-3, and I think 9-3 is going to put them on the cusp of making the playoffs, which I think they'll be out.
Who are your 3 losses?
I'm going to say Georgia.
At Oklahoma.
I'm going to say LSU.
I'm going to say Wisconsin.
Just because it's early on, they're still trying to figure things out, going through some growing pains.
The first 4, they're going to be 2-2.
Well, I think did Wisconsin get a quarterback from Miami or somewhere, or did the Wisconsin quarterback go to Miami? They move around so much, I get lost. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know who they got. I have to look at the schedule. But I just think, man, when they start playing, what's that song they play, Jump Around? On the road that early with a team that you don't know that well, Kalen the boy still not familiar with the. I mean, Wisconsin Big Ten, but still that's a hostile environment. I mean, he gets a little bit of going on the road, and you got to come right back and play Georgia the next week. Oh my God, that's hard. So
I'm not worried about Wisconsin. I mean, they finished 7-6.
You better worry about Wisconsin.
I'm saying I know it's going to be a tough road matchup, but at the same time though, I don't think. I mean, they're 7-6 last year. I don't know what big pieces they added other than maybe that quarterback.
Game of the season. And you got a new on the road. I think it's a.
We fussed about how bad our offense was that time last year. Theirs were worse.
Yeah, I'm honestly not too concerned about Wisconsin. Yeah, we'll go ahead and hit the break. But Tommy, we appreciate that, man. You have a good weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, man. Take care.
Yes, sir.
Tommy,
you too.
Sam says on YouTube Extra is Tyler Van Dyke, who was at Miami. That's what you're talking about?
Is that who's transferring to Wisconsin?
That's what Sam think it is. I don't know. That's what he just said on the YouTube Extra. All right, Wyatt, let's take a quick timeout. Final break of the hour. We'll have a quick comeback and then hit the top of the hour, and we'll roll some more stuff in hour number 2. This is the Miller's Edge. We're on Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. We'll be back in just a moment.
Is it Tyler Van Dyke? Yeah, former Miami transfer. Okay. Yeah, still not really worried about that though. I think they'll be. I just think that Georgia game. Not gonna lie, that one kind of. Yeah, I'm still feeling 10-2 at worst, maybe 9-3. Um, which that I mean, realistically, that's tier 2. So we're if we're putting these things together, it's I'm telling you, it's just the way the schedule falls, man. At Oklahoma, at LSU, at Tennessee. Good news is you got 2 bye weeks, though. So I imagine that would be helpful. I like the confidence, Justin, but just keeping it honest. I just think it's going to be. I mean, even if Coach Saban was still here and we had kept everybody from last year, I'm not going to lie. Keep doubting Bama, eat your words. Look, man. I mean, I gave blood, sweat, and tears to this program. It's not like I'm trying to doubt them. Just just got to be honest, right? I mean, even with Coach Saban coaching all the talent we had, I mean, it's hard to go undefeated.
We love taking it to the people. Let's go back out and speak with Drew from Nash, Vegas, one of my favorite cities in all of the world. Drew, welcome in, sir.
What's going on, guys? Roll Tide.
Roll
Roll
Tide,
Tide.
Drew. What's up, man?
Hey, I just wanted to comment real quickly on the tier talks you guys been having for a little while. You know, Corey, I'm not ready to put Alabama in tier 2 per se.
Yeah.
I think we got to look at it more of like a 1A, 1B type thing.
Okay.
You know, it's Alabama's still got the A on their chest, and I think that lends itself to the pedigree and the kind of mentality when Alabama shows up. They're always going to have a chance to beat you, and you're going to have to beat them and make the other team beat you. I guess what I'm saying is it's the scared mentality the other teams have. I mean, there's a reason Ole Miss hasn't beaten Alabama since Hugh Freeze was there. It's going to take those teams that are going to separate Alabama from that top tier to beat them before I can put them in a tier 2. Yeah, Ole Miss has gotten better. I still wouldn't have them above Alabama in my top 10 rankings right now. I definitely wouldn't have Alabama though in the top. I probably had them 5 or 6. I think that'd be about as low as I would put them right now.
That's fair.
I agree with your top 4, but yeah, I mean, I'm just not ready to put them in a tier 2 or even a tier 3 like you suggested.
Yeah, and I'm looking at, as I was looking at that schedule, Drew, I was like, okay, Wisconsin. I'm just saying it's because it's an early game. You get the 2 cupcakes to start the season. Then you go on the road, hostile environment, a team. It's going to be great because Alabama. I don't know. You probably know better than I do. I don't think has Alabama ever been to Wisconsin to play football. Maybe the first time. I know it ain't been that many times, if any. But it's going to be tough. And then you got Georgia. Those 2 games. I don't know if LSU will be as tough. Jay Daniels was just special, and the area that Alabama struggled the most at stopping the running quarterback gave them the most problems. I still think they can win that game at LSU, and I still think they can win at Tennessee because we just don't know just yet what they have. But at OU, another new spot, toward the end of the year, right before the Iron Bowl, I believe that game is slated. So It's one of those tricky schedules. I think Missouri's going to be a lot better than what people give them credit for. I don't know if I put them in front of Alabama. I won't check myself on that one, but they'll be close. I will have Missouri in my top 10. I think they're that good. Yeah, I see what you're saying. 1A, 1B. I mean, maybe they're on the outside looking in. You know what I mean? I mean, because you can't give a ton of love to Michigan. New coach, lost basically the entire staff. They do have some good guys coming in, but we don't know who they're going to be. I like Ohio State, what they did. So, you know, who else is dominant? We don't know. Georgia, we got to say Georgia is. They got a lot coming back. But other than that, I don't know. I think you got Georgia, you got Ohio State, you got Texas. And then maybe after that, you might have a group of 6 teams. Is that fair?
Well, I don't know. I think I would even include just Ohio State and Georgia. I think Texas has to prove it to me first before I include them up there with even Georgia and Ohio State. I mean, it's going to be Texas' first year in the SEC, running through the gauntlet. I want them to prove it to me before I put them in up there with the top 2.
Yeah, well, I mean, and again, Ohio State seems to just always let us down, don't they? Ryan Day stopped calling the plays, bring in Bill O'Brien, and Bill O'Brien divorced him already, now going to be the head coach at Boston College, so they got to figure that out. We don't know who's going to be calling the plays for Ohio State, but we do know they are loaded with talent. They spend a lot of money in the transfer portal of several Alabama players, former Alabama players, so they're going to be good. And again, Oregon, who's going to be quarterback, who's going to take Bo Nix's place, but we know they have a lot of talent. They've been very, very busy in the transfer portal, so I might will sneak Oregon in that 3-4 spot too as well. I like what Dan Lanning is doing out there too. So, I mean, it's going to be tricky. I don't think there's a whole lot of separation from a lot of these teams, to be honest with you. I think, like I said, 1 or 2, maybe 3. Then I think there's a whole pack of teams that could come out the rest.
Well, and to be fair, I think it's just the verbiage that kind of throws you off. Because Drew, I was the same way. I was when I first heard, I'm like, how do you not have Alabama tier 1? But because I was just thinking tier 1 would be pretty much just the whole top 10 teams. But then when you talk about tier 1 might only consist of 2 or 3 programs, I'm like, okay, I think that's fair if someone wants to put them around that tier 2 range. Which, if we're being transparent, a lot of people have projections of, you know, a 10-2 season. Technically, that is that tier 2 range, right? At least that's what the standard has been in the last several years in college football. 10-2 is more of a tier 2 team. It sounds bad, but realistically, it's not like the worst thing.
It's not bad.
No. I think that's you're in the playoffs, and I think it's being transparent. So I think it just depends on the perspective you look at it. But the more I kind of think on it, I'm like, all right, I understand kind of how that could be an argument. Just given, again, I mean, you do lose a lot of key pieces, but not only that, I mean, there's a lot of youth, right? A lot of youth on this team, and then you talk about a whole new coaching staff. It's going to be a lot of growing pains to go through. Just like we knew last year there'd be growing pains. Luckily, they were able to overcome them, and so we'll see how long it takes for them to iron out those wrinkles early on this season. But we talk about having, like my dad saying, going on the road week 3 to Wisconsin. I don't think it's going to be the toughest matchup, but it's a new place, new environment. And then having to play Georgia week 4, I mean, things kind of come at you quick. But then you kind of got Vanderbilt, South Carolina. I think those games will give them some time to kind of get in their groove.
Oh, don't sleep on my game.
I'm not sleep. I'm just being transparent, right? Carolina's like tier 4 or 5, right? So just being honest. And then Tennessee, Missouri, LSU, that's where it picks back up. So hopefully by then they've kind of hit their groove and they hit their stride, and they kind of starting to figure themselves out as this new era unfolds. But no, I think this is actually an interesting conversation. I'm glad we brought it up. I'm glad you called in, Drew. It's nice to hear different perspectives, so we appreciate that.
Yeah, I do have one more thing real quick.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the schedule, even what Georgia's got, and I'm not convinced Georgia's going to make it through the season undefeated either. Even with what they have coming back. I mean, they got to go to Ole Miss, they got to go to Texas, they got to come to Alabama, they got to play Clemson first game of the season. I'm not saying they're going to lose to Clemson. But it could be a
I hadn't
good
even
game.
seen their schedule.
They cannot lose to Clemson. I might have to. That's not good.
Wait, I didn't even look at. Wait, hold on. You said they played Clemson to start the year.
No, they played Clemson. That's going to be the first game of the year.
So they finally get a tough schedule. It seems like. I mean, we've been getting on them about a cupcake schedule, but I mean, oh wait, they go to Clemson. Yeah. Then they go. Wow. So I'll give it. Oh yeah, you're right. I mean, they definitely got their work cut out for them.
there could be the top teams in the SEC all sitting around 10-2. I mean, just beating up on each other. So how then do you do the tiers at that point?
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah, I
Well,
don't
I'll tell you
know,
right
man.
now, if Georgia goes 10-2, I'm
kind of
bumping them to
an
tier
early
2.
thought, Drew. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just kind of an early thought, just looking from the outside, the transfer portal, who they lost, who
Yeah.
they got into the. So we don't know. We don't know what this freshman class is going to look like. So there's a lot of things. You know, I think after spring, I'm going to throw out something out there, my top 25 after the spring, after I get a chance to really look at some of these teams, new quarterbacks and things like that. But I mean, I don't think Alabama's going to be horrible. I mean, even at 9-3, 10-2 is not horrible with a first-year coach. I mean, you just want a chance to get in those playoffs, and I think that's got to be the goal.
Yep.
All right.
Well, I appreciate
Drew,
you guys taking my call.
have a great
Absolutely.
weekend,
Thank you,
brother.
Drew.
Be safe down there in Nash, Vegas, a little honky tonk. All right, quick time out. Top of the hour went a little long there. Quick break, come back. We'll continue this conversation, look more at the Super Bowl. Who you got? And a goofball question for you. How many times will Taylor Swift be shown on Super Bowl Sunday? What's your number? 205-342-9904.
If you get it right, we'll give him a prize. I got to think on that.
I'm gonna give him a $50 gift certificate.
There you go.
Back in a moment.
Hey, Wyatt, when we go to break, could you just do like an instrumental or something? Yeah, if you don't mind, just don't do like a regular song because it'll get copyrighted on here. Just like an instrumental or something like something simple, something simple. Sorry, appreciate it. Justin, I promise you, man, it's not doubt in Alabama, man. Our job is to just talk sports and be transparent, right? Try our best to be impartial. Again, man, I love Alabama. Put my body on the line for this damn program, right? I mean, I've got skin in the game, literally. It's not doubting them. It's just as an analyst, right? Somebody's played the game, you just break it down how you see it. And we just know. I mean, it's gonna be tough. I mean, like, so what y'all say when we go 12-0? I'm gonna be fired up. And I'm gonna say I was wrong, and I'm glad I was wrong. That's how this works, man. Right? Like, the goal is to be undefeated. Like, again, I played here. Like, that was our goal every year. Did we go undefeated every year? No. I've never gone undefeated. Ever. Even when we won national championships. Matter of fact, we lost in the regular season every year that we won a national championship when I was here. The years that we went undefeated in the regular season, we lost a national championship. Right? So, I mean, again, it's just called being realistic, right? It's not doubting anybody. Tyler Chris was going with 6 showings of Taylor Swift. I don't know. I think it might be closer to 10, unfortunately. Oh, now, how are we doing this? Are we doing it before? Like, does pregame count, or is it once the ball's kicked off? I think we need to clarify that on air too.
Spinning in the blender. Good Friday right there. On my agenda is a little bit of beer and sunshine. Let's kick off hour number 2 right here on the Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. Hope you're enjoying your Friday. Some breaking news. We've been talking about Ohio State being a top-tier team, and what is Ryan Day going to do now that Bill O'Brien, you heard the Fox report there at the top of the hour, that Bill O'Brien is contract being worked out to become the next head coach at Boston College as their coach became the offensive coordinator at Green Bay in the National Football League. Well, there you go. Didn't take long. UCLA head coach Chip Kelly has informed his team that he's leaving for another job. Sources are telling at 24/7 Sports from a friend at Matt Zenith, but other outlets are also reporting. Bruce Feldman's reporting as well. that Chip Kelly is expected to become the new offensive coordinator at Ohio State per sources, and very, very interesting. So there's so much movement, guys. So listen, Ohio State is not playing.
No.
I mean, after Michigan won the national championship and they've lost, Ryan Day's lost. His record is like just impeccable. But he hasn't been able to beat Michigan the last 3 years. And then they won the national championship. You know what somebody did? Let's get these Benjamins out right here, and let's do what we freaking need to do to win a national championship. They're not playing. They got the recruits. They got Caleb Downs. They got Julius Sand. I mean, they already had a great stacked recruiting class. Now you bring in Chip Kelly with this offense and those players. Watch out for Ohio State, the OHIO. So looks like now that Chip Kelly is going to become the new offensive coordinator for the OH.
Would you have made that move? I mean, because he was UCLA's head coach, right? And I mean,
which is kind of strange.
That's what I'm saying. Would you have made that move? I mean, would you go from UCLA? I mean, what happened with UCLA? Because the Pac-12 kind of dissolved, right? So did UCLA make the move to Big Ten, or they did? Wyatt's nodding his head, so I guess they're in the Big Ten.
Games.
So he didn't want to compete against Ohio State.
Well, I don't think he wanted to travel across the freaking country to play football games. Think about it.
Dude, I don't know. Though. I mean,
it's Ohio
wait. But if you go to Ohio State, you're going to have to do that anyway because you're going to have to play the teams. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's true. You're still in the Big Ten.
Yeah, you're still in the Big Ten. You're still going to have to travel. So that wouldn't.
Dumb me.
No, you're good. But I wonder if it's a move like, all right, if I go have success as an offensive coordinator for Ohio State, a team that's probably going to be in contention for, not probably, will be in contention for a national championship, especially given that.
They don't do good, and then he becomes the head coach at Ohio State.
Well, I was about, no, I
Which
wouldn't.
I just sitting there thinking about this.
I wouldn't say the Ohio State, but
But why would you leave UCLA as head coach? To basically to take a step down and go to Ohio State.
But that's why I was asking you. That's why I was.
But here's my thing. He's not going to win at UCLA.
No.
I not think he understands that. He's not going to win there. And maybe he just said, hey, I can probably go there and make a lot of money because I think he might become the highest paid coordinator in the country. I mean, how else do you lure a head coach at a Power 5 school to another Power 5 school taking a step down?
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's why the only thing I could think of is he thinks that having success as a coordinator at a school like Ohio State, who's going to be in contention for a national championship, could help him advance back to being a head coach at a more prominent university. I mean, UCLA is still that's a great gig. I mean, obviously, you know, they're not going to, especially the moving to the Big Ten and you're at UCLA. I mean, good luck, right? But I don't know. I mean, some people are just different, but. I mean, I think that's a good move for Ohio State. If anything, that's an upgrade. I mean, Bill O'Brien, we know. I mean, I don't think he's the greatest coordinator. I don't think he's the greatest coordinator. Obviously, I think a lot of Bama fans hate him. I don't think he's as bad. He's not great, but I don't think he's as bad as people say. He's not great. Don't get me wrong, but Chip Kelly is definitely an upgrade over him.
Well, here's the bottom line: UCLA is not a good football team.
No.
The campus is like 45, 50 minutes or miles away. I mean, the stadium is absolutely empty at their home games. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I mean, listen, Buffalo's head coach, right, quit his head coaching job and went to Alabama. I understand that. Womack quit his job at South Alabama and went to Alabama. I understand that because he's probably getting paid more, just as much. Better program in the SEC, you know, better situation. But UCLA is a beautiful school. Now, I talked about they don't have the fan base. It's not the SEC, obviously. And maybe Chip just said, man, I can't win here. I'm stuck. I'm here stuck in neutral and mud, right? So when I go to Ohio State, one of the most prominent programs in the country still, and I got a chance to win a national championship, and then I can probably parlay that into another bigger head coach. I don't know. It just, to me, it don't make any sense at all. Now, these are several reports coming out. There's nothing official. Bruce Feldman talking about this on 3 Sports. You got Pete Thamel talking about this on his line. Matt Zenith on 24/7 Sports. So these are guys that break news, break stories. So I don't understand what the freak is happening to this. So this might be the craziest thing I've ever seen. I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
Might be the craziest thing.
I mean, it's definitely kind of head scratching, but it kind of makes sense though. Again, I mean, it's not like it's a lateral move in terms of the programs are not lateral, I guess I would say, right? Yeah, you'd be shocked, man. I'm telling you, there's some people that probably just prefer to be a coordinator. I mean, again, think about it. Would you want to be a head coach at UCLA where you don't have a chance at winning the national championship, or would you go be the offensive coordinator for a team like Ohio State, where they've got the players? I mean, each year they're in contention. They were in contention to make the playoffs when it was a 4-team system. Now it's a 12-team system. They're pretty much a lock to make the playoffs. They're trending in the right direction. I mean, they're picking up players, right? I mean, he might look at it like, hey, I can go be the coordinator here and arguably be playing for a national championship in the next 2 years. Or I could sit at UCLA and be the head coach and have a losing record. So, I mean, the more you think about it, it's not the craziest thing. I guess it just all depends on what your priorities are. Do you want to be a head coach, Power 5 level, or do you want to be an offensive coordinator for a program that's
big time coach? He's at Oregon. I mean,
yeah, no, I know.
He implemented an offense, all that fast, basketball on grass type offense. I mean, so to me, Chip Kelly, UCLA is not a strong program, Power 5 or not. I mean, this is a weak program right now, right? And the ceiling is not high there. So I think he understands that he can't do anymore there. He understands he can't compete there. Especially, who's going to go to school there? Think about the transfer portal. Who's going to UCLA? They're not spending any money to get players out there in the transfer portal.
No.
They're not doing that. Guys are not going out there to play in the game where the freaking stadiums are empty. Nobody shows up. There's nobody cooking burgers and dogs and brats, drinking beer on Saturdays early, 5 hours before games start. No, they ain't doing that. It's trash. I mean, that's the thing.
They got a great education, man. Great education.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, they do.
It's trash. And Chip Kelly knows that, man, I'm wasting my ever-loving time being out here. It's beautiful. They tell me that, the girls are absolutely stunning. Man, they said, woo. Yeah, you want to go out there if you're looking, trying to find a wife or something like that. They're like, yeah, but from a football perspective, nah. Ain't nobody going to the game. The students not even going because they ain't driving. They go out there and drink and try to drive 45 minutes back to campus. They ain't going to do it. So he probably said, hey, opportunity. I'm trying
to look up what their schedule was last year.
They're probably going to pay Chip Kelly $3 million. I think he becomes the highest
8-5
paid coordinator in the country. Because you ain't going there for peanuts. I mean, he probably makes, think about it, he probably makes $6 million.
As the offensive coordinator, that might be a little bit of a stretch.
I mean as a head coach.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, no, I mean, let's think on this. I mean, Alabama was paying their coordinators last season, a couple million? I think Kevin Steele was around that range. So I'd imagine he's probably at least making a couple, if not a little bit more. So, yeah, I mean, he might be taking a little bit of a pay cut. He was 8-5 at UCLA.
There you go.
Last year.
Kind of got a little deal. The deal keeps him the Bruins through 2027. This year, Kelly was set to receive $5.8 million for the 23 season and 24 season. That changed with the new extension, rising to $6.1 million. He would do $6.1 million.
So he's probably taking about a $3.5, almost $4 million pay cut.
What? I was slapping the pimento cheese out of him for my. What's wrong? There got to be something wrong.
No, I'm looking. It depends on priorities. Some people are in it they want to make the most money. Some people want to contend for championships at whatever the cost, right? And
If
some
he taking a
people don't care about any of
$3.5
them.
pay cut, somebody needs to slap the pimento cheese out of here. All right, we got to hit the timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue this conversation. Plus, I'm upping it to $100. So go ahead and get the phone.
What we need
253-422-9904. If you get the amount of times, it's going to be based on when you call, because a lot of people probably have the same, right? I'm going to leave your number with Wyatt. If you win it, you can just Apple Pay right there. There'll be $100 sitting right there.
I'll split it with you. I'll split it with you. But
$100. How many times? Here's a goofball question.
But you have to clarify. You have to clarify. Is it when does it start? Is it because pregame they're probably going to show her a handful? Are we talking about when the ball is snapped?
When the game starts.
Oh, so when the ball is kicked off to when the clock hits 0, how many times will we see Taylor Swift in the booth? All right, that's there. I just wanted to clarify.
$100 will be in your Apple Pay. If you call in 205-342-9904, you leave a number with Wyatt right there. He'll get it to us. And if you get it right, I ain't going to take but I don't know. We ain't gonna take that many calls. So if you want to get in, chance to win $100. There you go. We'll be back in a moment.
Hello, Alabama sports fans. Did you know that it's illegal to place a sports bet on the big game in our state? Right now, you can place a
All right, so yeah, that's what it is when the ball is kicked off to when the clock hits 0. So not the post game coverage, because they're going to do that plenty as well. So how many times? I think Dr. Crystal said 6. Justin, who's kind of trolling today. I love you, Justin, but you kind of trolling today. He says 17. I'll mark that down. But to answer your question, you're saying how are they a lock? I'm just saying, if you look at their schedule, who they play, the guys that they just brought in, right? The running back from Ole Miss, who's one of the best running backs in the SEC. They brought in Caleb Downs, right? I mean, they just at first when they hired Bill O'Brien, it definitely was an underwhelming hire. And you get a guy like Chip Kelly. I think that's a clear upgrade over Bill O'Brien. Now, I don't really see them losing more than 2 games, but again, I could be wrong. Like you said, there's nothing to analyze, but then you analyze them and say they're going to lose 3 games, man. This is all talk, man. Nobody's saying like we know what's going to happen. I don't know why you're trolling today, Justin. I don't know, man. All right, Kenji says 10 times. Let me write that down.
Sleeps. The San Francisco 49ers will take on Patrick Mahomes, my homeboy, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid. But the question is going to be, as I threw the goofball out to you on YouTube Extra, and if you call in 205-342-9904 or tie 100.9, you can get in any kind of way. How many times will she be shown? Because this is my biggest concern. I'm just afraid that she's going to take over the Super Bowl. I'm really afraid that she may be called out on the halftime performance by Usher. That's what I'm worried about. I mean, she just won, 4 Grammys the other night? She didn't even get a Queen any love when she won. Celine Dion, who's going through some things, she didn't even really shout her out like she's supposed to.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like she probably could have gave her a little more love when she went up there. But honestly, I could care less about Taylor Swift. I like my vote is going to be, I'm going to say 9 times that she'll be showed during the game. And then if you guys want to answer that, it's cool. But I'm so sick and tired of talking about her. Like, I'll be honest with you. Once the Super Bowl is done, hopefully we can keep them. And it's not her fault. I'm not blaming it on her. I just feel like it's just so much. I'm not going to lie. A couple minutes ago, we got ESPN on TV here. And I literally was just, they were just showing her. There was a segment coming up. I think it was about Kyle Kuchik, or however you say his last name, the fullback for the 49ers. His wife designs some of these clothes and apparel for some of the wives or whatever. Anyway, they showed the only people they showed was Brittany Mahomes and Taylor Swift the whole time. But anyway, I want to ask you something about Cam Newton regarding the Super Bowl. Now, everybody knows. I kind of asked you about Brock Purdy and is he a game manager, game changer, all that good stuff. But Cam Newton, they keep asking Cam Newton these questions, right? People keep saying, "Oh, why is he obsessed with Brock Purdy?" I don't think he's obsessed with him. They're asking the guy a question. Right? He's just answering the question. But he was basically saying, like, he doubled down on saying Brock Purdy's probably the 10th best player on that football team. And at first, I kind of was like, that's kind of, that might be a little far-fetched. But then I started naming guys, and I'm like, he might not be wrong. He's definitely not far off, right? I mean, let's go through it, right? You got Nick Bosa, Christian McCaffrey, right? Arguably two of the best players at their positions, respectively.
Debo, that's four.
Huh?
Ayuk and Debo, that's four. Trent
You
Williams,
think those guys? I'm like, hold on. I was like, let me wait. I don't know.
I don't think. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, probably, but that's a little bit closer. Trent Williams. I mean, he's best tackle in the league. Yeah, no, I know, but okay.
Right, that's five guys. That's just on offense.
That's five. Fred Warner, he's above most of those other guys. Top linebacker. 6. Who
They
am I
got the
missing?
safety back there's an All-Pro 7.
Is that a Samoan guy?
His name is.
Anyway, so yeah, I'm like, dang. Now you think about it, he kind of is. I'd say about 8 or 9, maybe 10. Probably because I'm probably forgetting somebody.
Regardless, it ain't got to be just a 10. But his point was, he's not the tier 1, so to speak. He's had a phenomenal year. He's been a phenomenal player. He's overcome the odds as Mr. Irrelevant. He has made plays with his legs, with his arms. You can't deny that.
Oh, George Kittle. There you go.
George Kittle, yeah.
Oh, Kuzcheck, the fullback, all-pro fullback.
Right. That's what Cam is saying. So he is. I don't know why people want to, he's not in the league. And I think he fired back at Cam and says, there's so many quarterbacks in this league.
No. That was fake news. That was fake news. You muted yourself, by the way. But yeah, no, that was fake news. I don't think he actually said that, but yeah, no, I don't think he's wrong. But it just makes me think, like, I'm not gonna lie. The more I hear this stuff, I'm just like, you can't even really speak your mind anymore without people jumping you. You know what I mean? And I know Cam is he comes off a little harsh, but I mean, the dude played the game. He was MVP. I mean, dude is a hell of a football player. It's just I don't know why people keep jumping on him, because the more you look at it, you're like, I mean, he's kind of onto something. He's a little harsh, but he's onto something. If you're talking to me, you're on mute. Yeah, I don't. Maybe he I don't know if he's paying attention, but we can't hear him. I'm watching him talk, and we can't hear him.
We lost him here on Tide side of things, so I don't
think he realizes that I'm literally watching him sit back and just talk. I don't even think he's hearing me. With that being said, we'll let's go to the phone lines. We'll let Ellis take his place, because I don't think he realized he's not connected here. Ellis, go ahead and fill in for my dad, because I think he don't realize he's not connected with us. But Ellis, happy Friday, man.
Happy Friday to you, fellas. Been a while since I called in, but I've been really busy.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I've had a lot of work to do, so
that's a good thing.
But I didn't today, so I was able to call in.
There you go.
I'm like you. I'm tired of the Taylor Swift thing, but I'm gonna say 15 times.
15. All right. Let me go ahead and put that in my notes. All right. I'm gonna put you down for 15.
And we went down there and lost in Boogerville.
Man, you win some, you lose some. I mean, I wasn't there, but just watching on the TV, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it looked like it was a pretty tough environment. Those guys, they had vengeance on their mind. I think they definitely were, pretty disappointed after we gave it to them when they came here to Tuscaloosa. So it's part of the game, but we just got to play a little bit better. We got to be a little more prepared, and we just got to do better in the paint. You know what I mean? And protect the.
But that's all they got. Look,
and the refs didn't help us much either.
Yeah, but and how many free throws were they?
they shot 50 or 51. I think total in the game was like 85. I think it was like most ever this season or something like that. But I hate pinning stuff on the refs because, I mean, again, you can't just point your finger at one thing. But realistically, though, I mean, that's absurd for a team to shoot over 50 free throws. I mean, that's crazy.
Yes. But that's all they got to look forward to is beating us like what they done after the ball game.
Yeah,
you see what they did,
like doing the Isaiah Bond celebration.
Yeah, you know they done that,
and then their official school page tweeted it. To me, I'm just like, it's kind of embarrassing when you know what I mean. Like the school page is even in on trying to troll somebody after a win. Like it's like they forget they just lost to us not even a week and a half ago or whatever it was. And then they just get so much delight from that. But again, it makes sense though. I mean, when you can live in another team's head like that rent free, it just goes to show you. I mean, like that's I get the rivalry. It has significance to both of us, but the measures that they go to on their end, it honestly kind of just is embarrassing for them, in my opinion.
It is.
Right.
You know, it really is, you know. That's why I'm proud to be an Alabama fan.
That's right.
You know? Because we don't do stupid shenanigans like that. I mean, good grief.
No. I mean, hell, I remember when I lost on the road to Auburn my junior year. You know, I think they stormed the field and they're doing all that stuff. And, you know, we were just pissed off, disappointed. But, I mean, like, I don't remember, you know what I'm saying? Like, but anytime we beat them, I mean, we've never in my life even imagined storming the field, you know, mocking anything that, I mean, it's because it's expected, right? I think that's the difference. Like,
it's
our
expected
program,
from them.
we expect
Hey, Corey, can you hear us?
right? We expect to win. We expect to be dominant. With them, it's not necessarily expected.
Can
and
you
I
hear
think
us,
that's
Corey?
very telling.
Okay, sorry about that. We'll
they
get you
do
back
stuff
on.
like they have to mock our celebrations. Like, I don't know, it's just kind of weird, man. Weird vibes. But I mean, like I said, Charles Barkley even said like he compared them to like the stepchild. So he basically he was straight up, man. That's why you gotta like Charles Barkley, man. He's gonna tell it how it is.
Well, he's straight up. That's why I like him. You know, but
that's right.
And what did you say the record? What you think the record would be this year?
I would say mine. I'm going with. I think 10-2 is a good number. My dad went 9-3. I think 9-3 is a possibility given the schedule, but I think 10-2 is very solid. I think that's realistic. 10-2 should have you in the playoffs, and especially first year for Coach DeBoer at Alabama in the SEC. I think that would be great. Only 2 losses because again, I think. Let me just say this, right? Sometimes people look, you got to just call it how you see it, right? I hope people realize, I've got actual skin in the game. I played here legit, blood, sweat, tear, tore muscles. No. You let me finish what I'm saying, right? What I'm saying is just because I say a 2-loss season, that's not doubting Alabama because we got people in the chat say, oh, keep doubting. It's not doubting. I don't think people realize, even with Coach Saban here, you know how hard it is to go undefeated? I was explaining, I've never even had a full undefeated season. It's hard as hell to do. Even if Coach Saban was returning as head coach, people still would be saying, 10-2 season is a possibility. Think about last season. People were saying the potential 3 loss. Obviously, that didn't happen. You dropped to Texas, and then they figured things out. And you end up falling to Michigan. So you ended up with 2 losses. But what I'm getting at is in today's college football, there's a lot more parity. Teams are good, and it's a lot more challenging. It is what it is. So it's not, you know what I mean? It's just being transparent. And I think a 2-loss season, given all the circumstances of, losing some key core pieces to this football team, replacing the entire coaching staff, all that good stuff, right? I think that's realistic, and I think that's a solid number, right? I think you can't be disappointed about that for a first-year head coach. Even though Coach DeBoer came from Washington, they did some great things. You got to remember, Pac-12 is a lot different than the SEC. It's going to be more challenging. So I think 10-2 is a very solid number.
Well, that's me.
I'm in the playoffs. That's what matters. Getting in the playoffs, all that matters, right? And beating rivals. You got to beat your rivals now. Got to beat your rivals.
10-2. That's mine. That's what I've been thinking all along is 10-2.
Yeah, and then obviously a perfect world, undefeated, right? Perfect world, like this.
Oh yeah.
That's a perfect world. But
How many times?
9-3.
How many times has Nick Saban went undefeated at Alabama? What, twice?
COVID year, and then like what I was explaining was funny enough. Every year that we went undefeated during the regular season, we didn't win the championship when I was here. And then the years that we lost in the regular season, when we in 15 we lost to Ole Miss, we ended up winning the rest of them and won a national championship. 17 we lost to Auburn, won the rest of them. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. People just got to remember that, man. I think
I have them at 9-3.
Right.
And I think you got a lot of turnover, and the fact that you got a new coaching staff, not just one or two coordinators, you got a whole new coaching staff. With the road schedule that's as daunting as it is, at Oklahoma, at LSU, at Tennessee, at Wisconsin. You got Georgia, Wisconsin back-to-back. You got Missouri, who's one of the top teams in the East that's going to show up. That's going to be just as good or better this year. You got a defense with a lot of holes, a lot of youth, a lot, that not just a starter. Now you got to talk about depth because, guys are going to get injured. So I'm just putting all of that in the equation, Ellis, and that's why I said they're going to trip up and lose one they probably shouldn't lose. That's why I have them going at 9-3 the first year, which is not bad.
I respect that, but I just think, and I think losses are going to be Georgia and Oklahoma.
Yeah, no, I can see that. As tough as that is, you don't want to fall to Georgia at home, but
could be spot on. The question.
No, you don't want to fall from them at home, but it's going to be, Georgia tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, Georgia's just going to be better off. That game is early too. They're going to be battle tested by opening up against Clemson. I see Georgia win.
But I hope I'm wrong. But that's
Yeah, you got to apologize for giving it. Like I said, it's all hypothetical, and it's again, so people need to understand it's the definition of expectation is just a belief that something could be the case in the future, right? That's all. It's all hypothetical talk, man. That's what sports radio does. That's why you give pregame predictions for games, right? So you're just going to tell College Game Day not to give. So if y'all don't want us to have our thoughts, right? Just go ahead and tell Coach Saban when he's on the set of College Game Day, don't give a score prediction or a prediction on who's going to win because you don't know. You got to wait and see. Like people gotta just relax, man.
I know.
Yeah, it's all good. I get it though.
I used to be like that, but I used to be like that, but I've just calmed down about all of it.
That's good, Ellis.
There you go. Here's something you can calm down about, Ellis. How many times will Taylor Swift be shown on Super Bowl Sunday?
15 times.
Yeah, he said 15. I got them written down. I hope that's not the case.
That many times I'm throwing this flat screen TV. I'm gonna take a video in the highway, right down the street.
Oh man, well, Ellis, we appreciate you, man. We're gonna have to get the break here, but we appreciate, man. Have a good week. I got you written down, man.
15 times, Ellis.
All right, roll
I'm
tide.
glad you send you $100,
Yes, sir.
but I'm gonna send you my broken flat screen with it. Okay.
We'll do
Roll
that for
tide.
sure. All right, let's head to break real quick, though. As Ellis always says, you guys know the drill. If you're in need of the latest and greatest officially licensed Alabama gear, head on over to none other than Alumni Hall. That's in Midtown Village in Tuscaloosa. Go check them out. They've got the hat wall if you like wearing hats. They got Yeti products, Peter Millar products, all that good stuff. Tumblers, all of that stuff, man. Go check them out. Alumni Hall in Midtown Village. If you're not local, don't worry. You can always go to alumnihall.com. They got the 2 for $38 deals on t-shirts. They got all that awesome Alabama gear, so go check them out right now. Again, that's Alumni Hall in Midtown Village or alumnihall.com where the Ultimate Crimson Tide fans shop. Quick timeout. Head back to the phone lines. We got Bama Boss Man on the line. He gave you a little challenge last time. We'll have to hear what he has to say when we come back. We'll be right back after this quick timeout.
Oh gosh, Jeremy, come on, man. Why you and Justin, man? You guys are faithfuls in here. Like, why do y'all have to? Why today, man? You can speculate till the cows come home about what the record could be, but we won't know until the season starts and games play. Jeremy, I promise you, man. I know that. We know that. Right? Like, our job is to just talk about these things and just look at it, man. You get what I'm saying? Like, I want Alabama to win every single last damn game they play for the rest of my life. But the job is just to talk about these things, man. That's what gives you something to talk about. If we just said, oh, we don't know about this new team yet, we'll wait and see. There's nothing to talk about. You know what I mean? And then if we just say, oh, we're going to win every game, that's not realistic.
Oh, well, people ask me all the time in these parts, what kind of place is Tuscaloosa? Well, I'm getting them ready because the Gamecock faithful are going to be there loud and proud. They're on the schedule. So Columbia, South Carolina will be invading Tuscaloosa this year, the Garnet and Black. It's going to be a fun time. So I'm looking forward to see all the Columbia folks coming down to Tuscaloosa. They can see that Tuscaloosa, I guess we can say, know how to party. And they will be going by my man's spot, R&R Cigars, 2703 6th Street. Check out R&R Cigars. Reagan and Randy will take care of you. They can go out on the porch. They can get in on those private rooms, flat screen TVs. They got the bar for you. All types of grown-up drinks for you that you can choose from. The bourbons, many bourbons, and many others that you can choose from. Drink responsibly, as we always like to tell you. And then the best humidor there is in all of the Southeast. So go check out the humidors. Get you a nice celebration cigar and that you can smoke. And if you're not in Tuscaloosa, if you don't want to wait to South Carolina, anybody comes down here to play the Crimson Tide, go on the website, www.rnrcigars.com, and use that code word, The Miller's Edge, and they'll send it absolutely free. So check them out, R&R Cigars. The Mansion is where it's at. They definitely know how to party. 205-342-9904. Yes, you said you got another special guest on the phone?
Oh, we got Bama Boss Man. He was the one that, he had a lot of good stuff to say now. He had a lot of good stuff to say now. Then he kind of lost us when he said Georgia and Kirby were trash.
They're number one in tier.
I'm paraphrasing, but Bama Boss Man, welcome back, man. Hopefully you can redeem yourself the way you ended last time. But it was going good, though. It was going good.
I come in peace.
There it is. What's going on, man?
Yeah, but y'all misunderstood what I was saying last time. But that ain't the reason I called. But you really misunderstood. I wasn't saying that they was a trash team or that Kirby was trash. Main thing I was saying was that they're getting a lot more credit than they really deserve. Because the schedule they played for the last 2 years, it wasn't as difficult as it could have been. And that contributed a lot.
Last year.
Yeah, that contributed a lot to what they did. But that's not the reason I called. This is the question I got.
Oh, yeah.
The 12-team playoff.
Mm-hmm.
The 4 conference champions they'll get bye weeks, right?
Correct. Or top? Is it top 4 or is it?
Yeah, conference championship.
Or conference? Is it top 4 or conference champions? You sure?
The conference champions get bye week.
Champions, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure of. So you got 4 conferences.
Well, you're not going to count the Pac-12 because it's dissolved. You got the Pac-2.
So you got the ACC, the SEC, the Big 10, and the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
That's 4 conferences.
Right.
Okay, now this is my thing. Say that the last week when you have the teams played for the conference championships, just hypothetically, you got the Big 12 champion or somebody champion might be 3 or 4 lost teams. But they're conference champions, so they got an automatic bye. So just say, hypothetically, Alabama and Georgia play for the SEC championship, and they only got 1 loss. One of them might not have either loss, no loss. But they play, and both of them end up with 1 loss. So what you would have is you'll have a conference champion that's with 4 losses or 3 losses with a bye, and either the Georgia or Alabama loser would have to go on the road with only 1 or 2 losses.
That's what. Well, that's
right?
Yeah. Well, and that's why I was asking. You guys are right. Yeah, it is the top 4 conference champions, but that's why I was like, wouldn't it make more sense to just have the top 4 teams, like the top 4 seeds, have the buys?
Yeah.
I feel like that makes more sense.
That makes more sense because the way they got it set up, you could have a 3 or 4 loss team with a bye and a team with 1 or 2 losses on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's just be honest. You're not going to have that in the SEC. You're not going to have that in the Big Ten. You're definitely not going to have it in the Pac-12. So, I mean, if anything, what's going to come out of the
and the 4 are ACC, SEC, Big Ten,
you got Florida
Big 12.
State, you got Clemson. Those are your two top teams. I mean, Florida State's undefeated. Clemson lost 3 or 4.
That's it. Yeah, and Clemson could lose 3 or 4 this year and still win their conference.
That's true.
And then you would have a 1 or 2 loss team from the SEC. Got to go on the road, and Clemson at home with 2, 3 losses or 4.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't really think about it like that, but
I think,
also go ahead.
Also, one other thing, what that also does, you only got a 12-team playoff. So now the bubble team that's down there at the 12, they could have a good record. But because the 4 conference teams get the bye, they're going to push everybody else down one. A team that was in the playoffs before the SEC, before the championship weekend, is going to be left out, and they could have a better record than the teams that's in there. You know, they could have they could have been ranked higher than the conference champion.
Well, yeah, wait. So that's where I get confused. All right, so if you take the top 4 conference champions and say, you know, the SEC champ is number 1, ACC is number 4, Big Ten's number 3, but say Big 12 is like number 7. Is that what you mean by they just bumped them? So do you exclude them from the top team? I get confused. Then you just go off the top 8. I'm getting a little confused now.
It's confusing because the conference champions get the bye. So if they could be ranked, the conference champions could before championship weekend could be ranked as low as 5 or 6 or 7. But because they're the conference champion at the end of it, they're supposed to get the bye. The way it's set up now.
Yeah. Well, to answer my own question, now that I think about it, that you just assume that the top 4 conference champions will be in the top 12, so it won't have any effect there. I guess it just could shuffle some things a little. Yeah. I don't know. Personally, I would have done the top 4 teams or the top 4 seeds get the buys, and then basically, not worry about conference champions because they're just going to be in the top 12 regardless. But I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, this is the first year, and are they keeping? Is this like I think I'm mixing it up with the new SEC format because one of those is just for this year that they're going to reassess, right? I think the new SEC schedule is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
where they're going to reassess after the season. I don't think it's set in stone just yet.
But right now, it's the top 2 teams in the SEC, top 2 records.
What do you feel about that? Do you like that better, or do you think they should have stayed with the East and West?
I don't have a problem with that. Top 2 records, I don't have a problem. The only problem I really got is you're going to have some team that's going to win their conference that's going to get a bye and not going to have a good record, or probably won't even be actually in the top 6 when the thing ends. But because they're conference champion, they're going to get a bye, and somebody that's got a 1 or 2 loss record going to have to go on the road. That's not right.
Well, let me ask you this, because we were talking about this too. I'm curious your thoughts on this, Bama Boss Man. We talked about, I think it was Greg McElroy, Cole Kubelik on their show. We're talking about expectations for Alabama and just where would you have them given, everything that has gone on, coaching changes, all the transfer portal stuff, all that good stuff. Would you still have them as a tier 1 team going into this football season? What say you?
Oh yeah, definitely. They're a tier 1 team. One of the 3 of us might not agree with that, but they're a tier 1 team. I'm saying.
I don't agree with that.
Well, no. Like I said, I think it depends on your perspective of a tier 1 team. That's why initially I was the same way. I was like, nah, of course they're a tier 1 team. But then when I thought about it, I'm like, but if we're only saying there's like just 2 or 3 teams in that tier 1, then technically they would fall in that tier 2 category. That's why we need a more firm, I guess, metric to go off of.
For a tier 1, but I'm predicting 10 and 2. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying, and I'm looking at
I mean, y'all not that far from me. I'm saying 9 and 3.
We're not jumping on you today. That's why I said
9.5 would be my win total.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I come in peace today, man. I just trying to figure out this. I'm trying to figure out this playoff thing because the way it's set up is crazy.
No, yeah. I think it's absolutely. I mean, think about this right here, real quick, Bama. Listen, last year if we did the top 12, right?
Yeah.
Michigan, Washington, Texas, Alabama, Florida State, Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Missouri, Penn State, Ole Miss would have been 11, Oklahoma 12. And let's just say Michigan would have got a bye, Washington would have got a bye, Alabama would have got a bye, and Florida State would have gotten a bye. And then, because that would have been 4, right? We wouldn't have the Pac-12. I'm just kind of throwing that still in there. Then the rest of them would have just been battling out. Then you would have had to, well, one of the 12 would have been in there because you had to put a group of 5 champion in there, right? So Oklahoma would have been out, or Ole Miss, or whoever, however you did that. You got Missouri 10-2, Penn State 10-2, Ole Miss 10-2, Oklahoma 10-2, right? So one of them would have been out, and then you would have had to put, let's say, Liberty in there. Liberty was 13-0, so Liberty would have been in there too. So this thing gonna get crazy, man. I mean, I don't know.
Really, this 12 team is going to be more hectic than the 14 was. As long as they leave it at the 4 conference champion with the bye, it's going to be more hectic because you know you're going to have either somewhere the Big Ten or the ACC, somebody's going to have 2 to 3 losses, and they're going to have a worse record than a team that's probably going to be ranked 5 or 6.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it, man. It's going to be interesting. We'll have something to argue about again. And on this top 4, but now it's going to be the top 13, 14, 15 going to have something to say about it as well. So, all right, my friend,
exactly.
We appreciate we got to hit this final break, and we appreciate you having a great weekend. I'm glad you come in peace, man. But Alabama's a tier 2 team. Just sleep on that this weekend. They are a tier 2 team right now. I got number 8.
Yeah, they're tier 1. Roll Tide 10-2.
There it is. Appreciate you, Bama Boss, man.
Bama Boss, man. Give me the business right now. I knew that. Quick break, final break of the show. We'll do that and come back and wrap things up here on the Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. We'll be back.
And
let's see. All right, now, Justin, I got to ask you this, because, again, I got to understand your thought process. So you got them ranked 5, but you expect them to go 12-0. So that means you expect the 4 teams in front of them to go undefeated as well? You see what I'm saying? I think if you look at kind of everything we're saying, you'll understand. You know what I mean? It's not like a bad thing. It's not disrespect at all. Hell, Alabama technically lost 2 games last year if you include Michigan. So I'm saying, I mean, when people say a 2-loss season, it's really not anything for a whole new coaching staff and everything new. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, Ole Miss definitely is dangerous, but we don't play them on our regular season schedule. Now we could face them in the SEC championship with the new format, because they'll be the top 2 teams. So we'll see. But no, they're looking to be a solid team. You got them 5 because how they finished last year. Yeah, and that's fair. And so that's what we're saying. So you look at how we finished, then you take into consideration a whole new staff with a whole bunch of new players as well, because we lost a lot of key pieces as well. That's where you kind of come up with predictions, right? Like I said, it's just all for fun, They can exceed them. They could be worse than me. Who knows, right?
All right, we're back here. Final segment here of the show. I had to do what they call opposite check with me package. My computer won died. I didn't charge it last night, so I had to get back on this Apple one. All right, final segment. Bama Boss Man didn't give us a Taylor Swift number. So, Bama Boss Man, if you're listening, text us or
Tide
call
at
Wyatt
message.
back. Or you can call Wyatt back real quick to give him his number that Taylor Swift will be seen on the Super Bowl. Let's give our score prediction here this final segment. Wyatt, I got a little bit of an echo, too.
That's I got you. It's because you're on the stream probably with your phone, I'm guessing, right?
No, I'm on my Mac.
Oh, well, who knows? We'll figure it out. You said you want to give a Super Bowl prediction?
Yeah.
All right. We'll go ahead and do that. Floor is yours.
You know, I did that prayer.
I would say, let's see, I would go, I'm going to say 34-27 Kansas City. I want San Francisco to win, but I think Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, I just think they're tough to beat, So I'm going to go with Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. I'm going to go, what did I say, 34-27? Is that what I said? Yeah. And then I gave my prediction. Again, I'm tired of saying her name, but Taylor Swift, I think 9 times. So there you go. That's what I got. We got Digger on the line. He's a big Texas guy. You want to take him real quick? All right. Yeah. Let's head to go to there. There he is. There you go. What's going on, Digger? Sorry, we got a bunch of technical stuff going on all over the place. Let me go ahead and end the stream. That'll make it easy.